So I haven't watched Married at First Sight since season 12's Kristen Page. That was a whole hot mess. So I said, you know what? Since they're on a new station, let me give it a go. It is a Peacock original now. So I said, let's just jump right in. We start with a banger. They gave us 4 episodes, but you know they usually don't do. They usually kind of just make us wait week to week. So this was really fun. So this is the breakdown of this season. We got episode 1 through 4, and then this coming Thursday, we will get episode 5 through 7. So today we're just going to recap episode 1 and 2, and then tomorrow we'll do episode 2 and 4. So we are going to break this down nicely, but I like how they have the breakdowns this year. So if you guys are thinking about catching up on it, you still have time before the new episode pops out. The first person we meet is Josh. Josh has a tumultuous relationship with his parents because his mom is not there for him. He was raised by his grandmom, and because of addiction and things like that. Also, he didn't really know his father growing up. So we get to know Josh a little bit, what he's going through and his tumultuous relationship with his parents and things like that. I was a little nervous about him going forward because sometimes when you have a character who has these tumultuous upbringings and relationship with their parents, it does end up peeking his ugly head when it comes to the relationships with their partners on the show. So we'll see how that pans out for him. And at this point, he does have a really successful roofing business and construction business. So he's doing very well for himself. He's pulled himself up by the bootstraps, so to speak. Josh is paired with Jalen. Jalen is a hometown girl. By the way, the show is going to be in Austin, Texas this year. So we have those kind of southern roots, that Americana kind of theme going on. So, I mean, we are in Trump's America, so it only makes sense. So Jalen is just very down home. She has a big family. She has a loving father and a loving mother who are divorced, and she did see them in a relationship for most of her life, but she didn't see them showing each other love, and it's something that she wants to break that generational curse. She wants to bring love into her life, love into her marriage. She wants her children and family to be able to see that. When Josh and Jalen meet, it's actually really cute. They immediately have a chemistry. All the family's like, oh, he's hot. You know how when the guy comes out first, and the family, when they see her, they're like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. Her dad walks her down the aisle and makes his jokes, let her know, I'm here for you. If you want to back out, I got you. It was just a cute moment. They had a really exciting meeting, and they both seem very attracted to each other. Throughout the episode, they did have conversations. One of them was about a post-nup. Because as I mentioned before, Josh is really successful. He just wants to make sure that he's protecting his assets because his partner and him are in business. His partner mentioned to him that when you do marry her, because they have to marry before they meet, make sure you do a post-nup. So that's kind of where we left off with those two. Not sure if she's going to sign it, not sure how she feels about it, but I think it's always hard thinking about divorce right after the honeymoon, right after you get married. But this man don't know her. She don't know this man. So I wouldn't be mad if he had to sign it because he does have, like I said before, a very lucrative construction business. The next person we meet is Brittany. She's a down-home loving girl. She does have also both her parents in her life. They are no longer together as well. They have divorced. But again, similar to Jalen, she's seen them in a very long but unloving marriage, and she wants to break that generational curse for herself. So she's looking for a partner that she can start life with. Then we have Will as well. He also comes from a family of divorce, and he too wants to break generational curses, and he wants to bring someone who understands him. To me, he comes off a little bit of neurodivergent. He speaks very fast. He's very matter of fact. Things have to be his way or the highway. He comes off as kind of, if you, from just like my personal perspective, just watching him, comes off a little bit judgmental of everything around him. Like when he met the parents after the wedding, he was like basically breaking down religion and why some of the flaws behind religion. And I was just like, okay, maybe do this at like a luncheon, not on like your wedding night. So it was a little awkward, and you can tell Dad did not really like Will too much. But it does seem that Will and Brittany get along pretty well. They seem to like one another, which is good. He gives her a big hug at the altar when he sees her. He tells her how beautiful he is. And I think things could go pretty well with these two. He kind of implies that they did have some intimacy the night before. They have similarities when it comes to breakfast, but she did kind of question him and say, you don't like to be wrong, like, you're always right. And she's already picking that up after 24 hours. She also thought he was handsome when they first saw each other, but one of the family members said, I don't know if he really likes her, because the way he was looking at her coming down the aisle, it was a little awkward. But he said he thought she was beautiful. Obviously she is pretty, but I just feel like maybe she's not his exact type. But Will seems like the kind of guy that neurodivergent. He knows exactly what he wants to a T, and if any little piece of that is off, he's like he throws the baby out with the wash. That seems like the Will type. Also, I noted here that I'm a little nervous about Will because he doesn't give off very much like grown man. He doesn't give assertive off. So that is a little bit telling to me. If you really watched him closely, my guy was like stimming over religion. And he had a kind of stimming situation earlier too when he was with his friends on the couch. They were discussing this marriage and everything, and he stemmed out there too. So definitely, I feel like I can't diagnose anybody, but it just gives very much neurodivergent. I did work with people who had intellectual disabilities and things like that on the autism spectrum, all the way to significant brain damage, car accidents, so anywhere in between that I worked with. And he does kind of show some of the symptoms that I've seen when I worked with that particular population. I'm not going to get into her yet, but we do find out that she is getting married. We also find out that this is Jalen's mom. Remember Jalen, our first couple. So her mom and her are both getting married this season, which I actually don't mind, because to me it kind of gives the Golden Bachelor, Later Daters, which are also shows that I watched and enjoyed thoroughly. So I think it's along that same vein. I know some people, they were like, oh, they didn't like it. They felt like it was giving mom is trying to compete with the daughter. I can't speak to that yet because I have not watched her couple yet. So once I get there, I'll give my personal opinion on that. But moving right along. The next couple we have, however, that is on this particular episode, again, I'm only recapping episode 1 and 2 that I've seen so far, is Derek. So we have Derek, who is, a sportsman. He's kind of the all-American guy. He just recently moved to Texas and is kind of looking for his final piece, which he feels like would be his partner. He gives me very much like soap opera son vibes. Like I said, his dad looks like JR, like from those old school soaps. They very much give, it's going to be fireworks between us. So he's very sassy. He has very opinionated. He's very much a bro. And then we have Megan, who's America's sweetheart. So Derek and Megan are going to be partnered up. Again, her family gives very much dynasty. She has a life coach. I feel like it's going to be fireworks for sure. Her mom gives very much Joan Collins. Her mom kind of looks younger than her, if you want to ask me. And they're very judgmental about the process. They're not as open as Derek's family are. Derek seems like he comes from a more loving, traditional family. Megan seemed like she comes from the Paris Hilton type of family, just like very well-to-do, higher echelon. She's the family's princess. Her dad didn't show up because he has nose cancer. Her brother didn't show up for another personal reason. So she said she was going to walk herself down the aisle because she's a badass and give her own self away. So I like that about her. So those two end up meeting. They did have good sparks. The family thought he was handsome. She thought he was handsome. He thought she was like a knockout. She's really pretty. And all in all, they started off with really good chemistry. I do see that there can be some competing family values going on, but I think overall, it's going to be fireworks with these two. So we are now down to our fourth couple, which is Pat and Miss Rhonda. I feel like giving Miss Rhonda because she wore very much lady in red dress. She said already been married. She got grown kids. She's been there, done it, got the t-shirt. Pat, he is helping his mom in her life and just being there as an adult son and trying to support her how he can. So they both are in the second phase of moving on with life after marriage. I believe Rhonda said she was married for 20 plus years, and if I remember Pat saying that he has been divorced for the last 5 years. So it's gonna be really interesting to see. Again, this is more the Later Daters, the Golden Bachelor type vibes with these last couples. So this is the mentioned Pat. And he looks like Santa Claus. He looks like a lovable dad, a lovable guy. We'll see what is behind the veil, because I don't know, these type of guys, usually when that veil falls, they be something else. This is Miss Rhonda, Lady in Red. She's all that in a bag of chips. She's everything I want to be when I get older. I hope so far, and I'm not saying that because, you know, I'm just basing this off the first episode. I like that she jumped in the pool with her red dress on. I like that she has a spunk and a zest for life still at her age. She is, I believe she said she was around 59, so there's a little bit, maybe a 4 or 5 year difference, something like that, if I recall. But they seem to get on right away, like the sexual. I know it's going down like that. In the 60s and the late 50s, 60s. I didn't know it was going. Wow. It was a lot. It was a lot of sparks going on. And I think once you're at that age, you see what you like, it goes down in the DM, if you know what I'm saying. So they were just like hot and heavy right off the bat. So we'll see if that flame turns into a full-blown blaze or if it turns into ashes. Only time will tell. I will say watching Pat and Rhonda did give me a little teary eyes. I love to see people, I'm a certified lover girl. I just love to see, especially people who've lived their first chapter, get a second chance and have like real happiness in that second chapter. So I'm wishing them to all the best. The funniest part though was Rhonda's kid said that she has a temper, or not a temper, she's just a little bit zany. So hopefully she can cool that down. We don't know much about Pat. His mom was just there. I don't remember seeing kids or anything like that. So I'm curious to learn more about him. And what I did find funny about Rhonda as well was that she forgot his name. So she seems like she just breezes through life. Hopefully she does slow down and take things a little bit more serious, because she's a married woman now. So she has to start taking, what is the word, inventory of, or taking stock of what's in front of her and not just zooming past just because she has these desires that she wants, because she moves a mile a minute. So hopefully a guy like Pat will help ease her, just not slow her down, but calm her down. Another little note, and these are the day after like notes that when they already settled in, the next day they wake up. These are another little notes that happened day after the wedding. I thought it was weird that Will called Brittany a big voluptuous head, and like, is the pot calling the kettle black because he has a big rotund head himself. He got a lot of brains up himself. So I thought that was weird. That was not a compliment. It's already giving the weird, strange energy that he's been carrying all along. It's so funny because when I saw Derek and Megan's wedding, I was like, oh, it's giving very much Bridgerton. But little did we know, she was really getting her own George. Like, what the heck? Because he really woke up in the morning battling demons, battling night terrors. So that was a little off-putting. I can only imagine meeting a man for the first night and he's having night terrors. That would be traumatizing. So hopefully whatever demons internally he's dealing with that's causing him to have these nightmares and night terrors comes to the forefront before they get too deep into their relationship, because that's something that he is definitely dealing with internally. And then the final thing was Jalen and Josh. Again, I think I mentioned this in the beginning, but the day after the wedding is when he asked for the prenup. So we have to come back and see what she's going to do with that. Just a reminder, this is where we are. We're getting a new episode on the 30th. So I'll recap the next two before the 30th, which is I got 2 days. And then we'll go from there. So, all right, guys, it's your girl, Nico Nicole. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't already here on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already here on TikTok, please hit the follow button, because I am putting in a lot of work here. So I would like some exchange. The exchange is a like. The exchange is some love. And I appreciate you watching. Take care, and you guys have a nice night. Bye.